So my name is Kenzo, and I confess I have a lot more art books than I have read and used. So in order to help you avoid that problem, I thought I'd go through some of the books that I really like, but each one has big caveats, okay? First one is an anatomy book, Valerie Winslow. An alternative to this is Anatomy for Sculptors, possibly even more useful than this one. They're both really good. Big caveat with any anatomy book is it's a reference. If you're learning a language, you have a dictionary and you come across a word, you go to the dictionary to figure out what it means. You don't just read the dictionary, right? If you have an anatomy book, you don't just work through it and just try and memorize every muscle or whatever. If you're seeing something that you're struggling to understand, it could be useful to go into this. Now, in order to make this useful, it's important to have a foundational set of forms that you use in the figure, like a simple ribcage egg, and be able to see where it is in the figure. I didn't find anatomy useful till I could do that, and then you can build and more anatomy onto that kind of basic form. And for that, our stuff is the best, all right? I'm just saying, Fresh Eyes mini course is free. It's linked below. Get into these simple forms, and then a lot of this other stuff opens up. Okay, 4 figures. Steve Houston's figure book. I don't have it here, but I'll put a picture up. I found it really, really useful. And it's one of the best figure books that I've read. But the first time I read it, it went over my head. I thought, man, this is a great book. I can tell it's a good book, but I can't use any of these ideas. I wasn't ready for them. Like I said just now, I needed to learn these underlying initial ideas, even more simple, which I'll link to our tutorials for that stuff below, and then that stuff fills in the gap, and then this book was really, really useful. And if you really want to get good at that stuff, join our study group, but I'll just leave the promo there for our stuff, okay? I promise, no more promo of our stuff, okay? How to Draw, very sort of popular, famous book. There is one problem, one caveat with this book, all right? And it's the title, How to Draw. This isn't a how to draw book. This is a really specific, how to draw really specific things for a pretty specific purpose. So it's like things like planes and vehicles and, man-made objects. How to draw them well and design them. And use quite advanced perspective techniques to be able to draw them. So it's an industrial design drawing book. And that's why I haven't gotten through much more than the first 60 pages or something, because I started to realize I'm learning techniques like mirroring curves in perspective, which don't apply to the type of drawing that I want to do. I want to draw figures, I want to draw portraits, landscapes, and things like that. And even if I'm painting a car inside of an urban sketching scene, I don't need to use these techniques for that. This is a really specific book, but for that specific purpose, it's a really, really good book, I think. Another good figure book is this one by Jake Spicer. And I mention this one because it's a different approach. It's more observational, more direct about what you're seeing. Jake's got really lovely drawings, and they have a special quality to them, which I think is partly about that approach. And there's a lot of exercises in here which I don't normally do. And so to kind of balance out my skill set and stuff like that, this is a book that I want to refer to more. Framed Ink. I haven't looked at this book for years. It's about drawing and composition for visual storytellers, like how to frame a shot and stuff like that. It's really good. Just for this video, I started flicking through this to remind myself. And then half an hour later, I was like, oh my God, this is a good book. So I need to read this again. And so if you're interested in comic books and storytelling with your pictures, check this one out. How to Draw Portraits in Charcoal by Nathan Fowkes is a great book about drawing portraits. Possible caveat to this is I would say it's not going to be accessible instantly for beginners. So you would want to kind of have some skills under your belt first, and then maybe dive into this. But once you have those, a little bit of base skill, it's a really good book. And I would say it's even limiting itself by saying in charcoal, because These principles will apply to portrait, drawing, and painting, regardless of the material. So this is a good one. Drawn to Life by Walt Stanchfield. My friend Jared Cullum, who's really good illustrator, swears by these books. And man, I've struggled really to get into it, even though I know it's full of really good advice. It's about like drawing the verb and making sure that your drawings tell the story really effectively, right? And so I want lots of pretty pictures in the book and not many words. And this has a lot of words, and it does have pictures, but they're very functional, right? They look kind of like scratchy scans of sketches. So that's why I struggle, even though it's obviously really good content. I haven't actually read this whole thing yet. So that's just my confession. I feel bad saying that because it's such a legendary book and it's obviously such a good book. All right, a few more of these how-to books. Color and Light by James Gurney. Super interesting. Lots of pictures. Good for me. The text is really interesting. It's broken down into these like, one page for this topic. And it's really clear. And even if you're not interested in color and light, it's just an interesting read. And if you are interested in painting with color and light, it's going to be super useful. So this is a textbook about character design. It's really straightforward and simply put together. Some principles and then process and then a bunch of examples. And it's nice because it has a lot of different artists, examples from them. I think whoever edited this, it says it's edited by Marissa Lewis, did a really good job of like keeping it really useful and holding it together with all these different voices in here. There's a good section by Ida Hem about stylized figures, which is quite good. And so definitely recommend this if you're interested in designing characters. If you're interested in watercolor painting, I found this book by William Lawrence, aka Skip Lawrence, to be really good. And you know what? You might not use all the principles and ideas, and he's got a specific take on light and values and stuff like that. It's a really good book though, and I do really like his paintings in this book. Okay, Art of a Specific Artist book. So John Singer Sargent's watercolors. And you know what? This is a good one because there's not that much writing and the pictures are big. You know, there's lots of things more upsetting than this, but it is a little bit upsetting when you get a book like The Art of Winslow Homer or something, and you open it up and there's a bunch of text, and then the pictures is a massive, big art book like this, and then the pictures are just like, they've just printed them small. Just print the pictures as big as possible, because I'm not going to read it. I'm going to look at the pictures. That might just be me. I've got this one for work by Soroya, who's an artist I like. And then this one from Pascal Campion. This one is hard to get. And I love this one because it really is just the pictures. Lots and lots of them. And there's such a variety. And just so many different storytelling ideas. Compositional ideas. And one thing that I like about him is with his pictures, he tells the story he wants to tell as quickly and simply and as straightforwardly as possible, and then that's it. So the point with these is to get the art books for the artists that you love, and then you can flick through them and be inspired by them. And you know, if you might be about to doom scroll for an hour, but you just start flicking through one of these books and it just makes you want to draw. Obviously, you don't need to get Pascal Campion or Sargent or stuff that I have. Get the artists that you love. The Art of Luca. I really like the visuals of this movie, and it's really fun to see all the sketches and paintings that go into creating these characters, and it gave me a lot of ideas for my own illustrations. Same thing with Tangled, and quite kind of an interesting story how the movie was developed. Went from this kind of dark, moody look and how they changed that. All the specific studies they did just about her hair, because obviously Rapunzel has long hair. Nice pictures by Glenn Keane, so it's another favorite. Okay, paintings by Kazuo Oga, a background painter for Ghibli. Now, I love Ghibli movies, and you know what the thing about movies is? The celebrity voice actor or whatever gets put on the poster, but it's the painters that are the real stars of those movies, right? And in Ghibli movies, where they are, the magical worlds that they're in, the beautiful worlds that they're in, that is such a, if it's Totoro or whatever, that is such a huge part of what makes it so lovely to watch. And that's because of people like Kazuo Oga. And so these are great, lovely books. So one quick note about these Kazuo Oga books. There is a lot of writing and it is all in Japanese. So, I just wanted the pictures to be bigger, but I love them anyway. The art of Spirited Away. This is like the art behind the movie. And I quite like these books. There are quite a lot of the background paintings, which is great. There are a few like just stills from the movie, which I kind of feel like I don't need because I can just watch the movie for that. But really nice books to look through. The final category is beautiful comics and picture books and graphic novels, because you can obviously read them, which is fun if they have a good story, and then you're inspired to make stuff, right? So I've just got this one, Castle in the Stars. My friend Lane Brown told me about this artist, Alex Alice. So I got this. Every page, just beautiful watercolor illustrations, so nice. Hilda and the Mountain King. So I read these books to my kids, and really interesting, fun characters. But I'm always looking at these books and like analyzing all the artwork, and it's fun to see my kids just enjoying them, right? So picture books, I got kids, so I read a lot of picture books, and I got Hilda, really cool character designs. I like these books by Joe Todd Stanton because I like the illustrations. The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. This is a really nice book for the artwork, and even the handwriting is kind of beautiful. I'm not super bothered by the actual text, again, like what it says, but I find the visuals really inspiring and gestural and interesting and different, right? So the last one is You Choose Fairy Tales, my 3-year-old son's favorite book. I'm kind of using this as an example of artwork out there that doesn't conform to these principles that we talk about, isn't the most beautiful, isn't taking our breath away, right? So everything in here is like depicted to just be really, really clear to a 3-year-old. So in that, it achieves its goal of entertaining my son and being clear and easy for him to understand. And I think it's useful to remember that different types of art have different purposes, and not all of it is about capturing the maximum beauty and visual interest. Sometimes it's just about communicating an idea, and so that's why I thought I'd grab this one as well. So finally, some quick tips for using all your art books. One is to try and do studies from them, even if it's simple thumbnail value studies, trying to do sketches from them so you really get acquainted with the pictures. And another is to try not to buy another one until you've done studies from the last one, so that you don't go on a big old retail therapy cycle like me and buy way more than you actually need. Maybe similar with art supplies and stuff like that. So I mentioned there are some gaps that you need to fill before a lot of these books are going to start to be useful. So if you want to learn that stuff, our Fresh Eyes mini course, it's still free. The link is below. And if you really want to take your drawings seriously and have a sequenced, structured course set of exercises to go from all the way from total beginner to super advanced, we've got you covered, including one-to-one feedback in our study group. So check out the links below. There should be another video just for you on the screen. Check it out, and I'll see you over there.